Welcome to today's webinar, Moving Forward with the CFA Exams, hosted by CFA Society Chicago's Membership Engagement Advisory Group. Information on the upcoming events can be found on the Society's website at www.cfachicago.org. All mics for attendees will automatically be muted during the event. If you would like to ask a question, please use the Q&A feature. This event is being recorded. Today, we are joined by Kristina Fitzhugh, Program Manager of Credentialing at CFA Institute, and BJ Tolia, Ph.D., CFA, Vice President of CFA Education and CFA Level 2 Professor for Kaplan Schweizer. Kristina will provide information on the postponement of the June 2020 exam and an overview of the tools and resources available to candidates. BJ will then review strategies for exam preparation now that the exam has been postponed. If you have questions about the exam and strategies to prepare, this is the time to ask them. Please first welcome Kristina.
Hello, everyone. Let me pull up my screen and I'll get started. I'm assuming that you all can see my screen, so I'm going to move forward. I was about to ask you to let me know if you could see it, but all the mics are muted, so that might be a little bit difficult. So go ahead and get going. My name is Kristina Fitzhugh. I am the manager of CFA program, and I am here to talk today about a couple of things. So first, we're going to go through the June 2020 exam postponement. I'm going to talk a little bit about the study tools and candidate resources that are available to you that are provided by CFA Institute, and then share some study tips that might be helpful as you continue this journey with the CFA program. So let's jump into the June 2020 exam postponement. So as those of you who know that were registered know, the exam was originally scheduled for the 6th of June. And that was postponed due to COVID-19. This was the first time in our 57-year history that we've had to postpone the exam. So this was definitely not a decision that was made lightly, but one that was done with careful consideration for the health and well-being of our candidates and of our staff. Candidates that were registered for the June 2020 exam have the option to register for either of the next two available exam cycles. So for level 1, that means that they can register for December 2020 or February 2021. And for level 2 and level 3, they can register for December 2020 or June 2021. We have made the decision to freeze the curriculum. So the 2020 curriculum will be used for all 2020 and 2021 exams. So if you've already received it and already spent months studying, we hope that this will aid you in continuing with the program and you don't get disrupted if you choose to sit for one of the exams offered in 2021. So I know there are a lot of questions around the June 2020 postponement. I'll address a few of the most asked questions here, and then as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, feel free to use the Q&A feature to ask others. And if it's something that we can't get to today, you can always email CFA Institute at info@cfainstitute.org. So when can candidates re-register? So if you were registered for June 2020, you should have received an email by now to re-register. For level 2s and level 3, you can register for either exam cycle. And for level 1, December 2020 is open now, and the February 2021 will open the 16th of June. The deadlines for re-registering are the same as the standard registration schedule. So you can see the full calendar on our website, but I'll highlight them quickly here. December 2020, that's the 9th of September. For February 2021, it'll open 16th of June, as I mentioned, and you'll have until the 3rd of November to register. And then for the June 2021 exam, have all the way until the 17th of March next year. So we all know that the coronavirus is still a major issue. It's still a global pandemic, and it is not going to go away anytime soon. So CFA Institute is closely monitoring the outbreak and pandemic-related restrictions around the globe to help us assess whether we'll be able to administer the exam in December. We're developing contingency plans, and we'll be in touch with candidates closer to the exam date if anything's going to change with any guidelines about masks or anything like that. So we'll certainly be in touch as we know more, but it's such a fluid situation right now that we really have to wait until we get closer to December to see what the restrictions look like by then. And this has been a big question because the exam has been postponed and all candidates are given 2 deferral options and no refunds are being offered. So we understand that that can be hard, but if you reference the candidate agreement that everybody agreed to when registering for the exam, we do talk about the option of moving the exam if needed. So that's certainly, like I said earlier, this is the first time in 57 years that we've ever had to do that. It's not something we want to do, but because we will be delivering the exam, it was just postponed. We are not offering any refunds. There are a lot of other questions around this. I know there are some great FAQs that are on our website specific to COVID-19 and the June 2020 exam postponement. So I encourage you to go check that out. All right, so study tools and candidate resources. So CFA Institute has a lot of great resources. I'm going to run through them quickly, but I really encourage you to kind of dig deep into these and see all that we have to offer. So all candidates should know about the candidate resources page. If you're registered for an exam, you can access the page by visiting the CFA Institute website and using the navigation to select the registered candidate resource page. This page, yeah, we got a sample here. So if we look at this, you can see that it really covers everything from access to mock exam and practice questions, errata, tips for taking the essay exam. This was pulled from the level 3 candidate resources page, all the way over to registration confirmation and receipt, and then kind of a candidate checklist and exam day experience information. So it's really a one-stop shop that contains a lot of great information, and I really encourage you to check it out. Next is the learning ecosystem, and this is definitely the most important tool that CFA Institute offers. It's essentially a digital platform that houses, sorry, I'm having issues with my computer screen. I'm assuming you all can still see my presentation, hopefully. All right. So the learning ecosystem, it's a digital platform. It houses our program curriculum, all of our study tools like practice questions, flashcards, and mock exams. I've got a sample here of what it looks like. It's got a great interactive dashboard that counts down the days till the exam, that gives you information on your study progress, how you've performed most recently on practice questions, your average score. It's available on the internet on your laptop or through your mobile device, and it fully syncs between these, so you can work on your commute when we get back to the new normal. You can work on your commute on your iPad or your phone, and you'll be able to pick it up on your laptop once you get back to the office. The full learning ecosystem is available for level 1 and level 2 currently, and it will launch for level 3 in July. Right now there's a limited version available for level 3 candidates that includes practice questions, but we will launch the full experience for level 3 in July. So a few more study tools. I know I just mentioned them, but the practice questions and flashcards, these are really great resources that we have on the learning ecosystem. All of this information is accessible through there, and the learning ecosystem is linked through the candidate resources. So again, all of these are really important tools that you should be familiar with. Mock exams is another great one. This gives you the opportunity to really get a feel for what it'll be like on exam day, and we encourage you to use this later on in your studies so that you've kind of gotten through a lot of the material and you have a better sense of how you do on the day of. And then we also have print curriculum available. So if you prefer to study with a book in front of you, really want to get that highlighter out and go through the curriculum, you are more than welcome to purchase that. It is an additional charge, and information is available on our website about that. All right, so now I'm gonna flip in to some study tips. I know there are many other people that have great information to share about this, but I'm just going to run through a few that I think will be really helpful. Some will be level specific, some will be specific for cover for everybody. So yeah, let's get into it. So the CFA program curriculum is the only source for exam writers. What this means is that exam writers base their questions on material found in the curriculum. So that your best bet on success is really reading through the entire curriculum, because that's where all of the questions are going to come from. Pay attention to the learning outcome statement command words. So the command words and the LOS will determine how the question can and will be presented. For example, an underlying concept may include some big calculations, but the LOS asks you to explain instead of calculate. So you want to know how to explain. You don't necessarily need to know how to calculate. You don't want to waste time on something that you're not being asked to know for the exam. Make sure you put in the hours. Successful candidates self-report over 300 hours of study per level. So it really is a time commitment, and you really need to make sure you put in those hours to be as successful as you can. Consider using a prep provider. So prep providers are a really valuable supplement to the CFA program. Many offer video lectures, condensed materials, and extra questions, and they are more suited to different learning styles. So CFA Institute and the CFA program is a really distance learning program. So if you want more the classroom style or video lectures where you can actually speak to a professor about the content, prep providers are really a great option. And you'll hear from BJ shortly, who's with Kaplan, who is one of our approved prep providers, and he'll be able to talk more about the services that they offer. We have a full list of approved prep providers on our website that you can check out. So some topics are more heavily tested than others, so make sure you allocate your study time appropriately. This is applicable across all 3 levels, so really go on our website and check out the topic area weights. For example, level 1, financial reporting and analysis, is much higher at 15% than derivatives and alternative assets or alternative investments, which are only 6%. So that's really a difference, and that means that more questions are going to be written about financial reporting and analysis, so spend more time studying that topic. And pay attention to the in-text examples and end of reading questions. This is where a lot of exam writers go for their content to get ideas for their questions. So, you know, it helps to understand what's going on in those examples. Optimize your study time. So make sure you're spending time reading the material, but also drilling with questions. Repetition is really key, especially with level 1, where you have the standalone multiple choice questions. So going through all of the practice questions, on the learning ecosystem, taking advantage of extra questions that prep providers offer, those are really helpful as you move through the program. And then use the study tools available to get accustomed to the structure, format, and level of difficulty of exam questions. So the mock exam questions, the end of reading questions, the practice questions that we have in the learning ecosystem, they're written with the same style guide and the same format that exam day questions are. So it really helps you get accustomed to how they're structured, the various options. You know, they have the same number of options, so it really helps to familiarize yourself with that. And take advantage of the mock exam and create a full exam day experience. So take a full day, sit down with the mock exam, time the sessions. Don't take breaks except in between the morning and afternoon session, because you really want to build up that mental endurance. It's a long day on exam day. You know, 6 hours testing, much longer in the actual seat while you're waiting for everything to get going, and then everything to get cleaned up. So it's a really long day, and you want to make sure you're prepared. All right, so this is level 1 for December 2020 specific. So level 1 will be 240 multiple choice questions. It's 2 3-hour sessions, so the standard morning and afternoon, 120 questions per session. So that's an average of 90 seconds for each question. Questions are standalone, so it's particularly useful to drill with lots of questions. And some formulas are used throughout numerous readings, so you get more bang for your buck if those are the formulas that you remember and you really understand and you know how to use. So the note about drilling with questions and the overlapping formulas is the same for the February 2021 exam. But as many of you know, this will be the first exam where we're going to be computer-based testing. This exam will be shorter, so it's only 180 multiple choice questions. It'll be 2.25 hour sessions with a break in between, and 90 questions per session. So yes, the exam will be shorter. CFA Institute has had independent psychometric research conducted to ensure us that fewer exam questions in no way affects our ability to know who demonstrated, required competency to pass the exam. So we're very confident based on that research that 180 multiple choice questions is just as sufficient as the longer exams that have been held in the past. Level 2. So level 2 consists of 20 to 30 vignettes supported by 120 multiple choice questions. This covers 2 3-hour sessions, so standard morning and afternoon, with 10 to 15 vignettes with 60 questions per session. That's an average of 20 minutes per vignette, about 3 minutes per question. When you're looking at these vignettes and associated multiple choice questions, generally, but not always, the question order will follow the vignette sequence. So question 6 will likely be derived from the end of the vignette. So that's just a helpful tip as you're going through. That might be a clue as to where to look for that information. And then for level 3, so we have 20 to 30 vignettes supported by constructive response and multiple choice questions. The morning session is constructive response, and the afternoon session is vignettes supported by 60 questions, the exact same as level 2. So candidates that are level 3, you know what to expect for the afternoon. The morning session is different. Constructive response questions, I really encourage you to practice writing your answers out when you're going through this prep process. Some will be short, others will be long. Your answers can be short and concise. They don't need to be beautifully written. You can use bullet points, but just make sure you're really getting to the point. And if a question asks for 5 or 3 things, don't list 5. The graders are only going to look at the first 3. So you don't want to waste time writing those 2 extra when you could have been moving on to the next question. So just address the question, short and concise, and move on, because time management is really important here. And level 3, of course, focuses on total synthesis of everything that you've learned throughout the program. So really rely on the curriculum in your preparation. So exam day. I know at this point, we would have otherwise been quite close to the exam. Now it seems very far away, especially if you're not sitting until June 2021. But I think these are still a couple of useful tips that you can keep in the back of your mind as you start to prepare for exam day. So the day is going to be long. It's going to be stressful. The exam is difficult. So make sure you control everything that you can. Know how to get to your test center. This information will all be shared ahead of time. You should have adequate time to look up directions and know exactly where it is. Have your ticket and your passport. Make sure your passport isn't expired. Make sure your ticket information is all accurate and matches that on your passport. Bring your calculator, so only the approved Texas Instrument, BA2 Plus, or HP12C. Don't forget your batteries, your extra batteries, your pencils. If you bring extra batteries and your calculator requires a little screwdriver to get the back off, you're welcome to bring that screwdriver. Know when and how you'll get lunch. So the different test centers, this seems kind of silly, but the different test centers really operate, they're very different. So some will have food options there, right on site that you can easily grab. Others, you're going to have to travel a little bit away from the test center to be able to find something to eat. So you might want to pack something. So just make sure you know what you're going to do. But you want to make sure you have time to eat and kind of take a break before you get back in there for that afternoon session. And then don't bring any unapproved items. So cell phones, smartwatches, fitness trackers. The last thing you want is to compromise your exam results because you accidentally forget to take off your smartwatch. So try to be cognizant of how long you're answering questions. Time management is hard on a good day, but especially when you're in the stressful situation of the live exam. There will be a countdown in the front of the room, letting you know how much time is left. It generally counts down in 30-minute increments until you get to the last 30 minutes. So, but really pay attention. You can have a watch on your desk or wear your watch if you'd like to, as long as it's not a smartwatch, to keep track of how you're doing. If you're getting stuck on a question, move on. Make sure you go through the entire exam at least once. You have the opportunity to go back to questions that you didn't answer if you have time at the end, but you want to make sure you can get through everything and answer those that you do know. And panic is the enemy. You know, guessing is appropriate and encouraged. There's no penalty for wrong answers. So if you get to the last 5 or 10 minutes and you still have a lot of questions left, don't be afraid to guess, right? It's better to get a few points from guessing than just miss out completely because you didn't put anything down. And then finally, social media. So especially during this time with the pandemic, there's a lot going on, and I encourage you to follow CFA Institute on social media and keep up with your email so you can be the first to know about anything that's going on with the exam, any changes that we might have to make, or just any updates in general. It's really important that you at least check your emails that come from CFA Institute. Those candidate communications have a lot of important information in them. Check out candidate resources where we'll also be in touch, and then follow us on social media so you have a better idea of what's going on. So I think that is it for me. I'm going to turn it over to BJ and let him take it from here.
Thank you very much, Kristina. That was very helpful. Let me pull up my PowerPoint and share my screen. So. All right, once again, welcome, and hope you are all staying healthy and well. So what I'm going to talk about is generally a plan of action given the fact that the exam has been postponed. My presentation is mostly geared towards those who are planning on postponing the exam until December. So what Kaplan is doing is we are offering something called as a masterclass, and that is free to not only our customers, but also any candidate that wants to attend those live master classes. So the goal here is, you started studying under an assumption that the exam was going to be conducted in June, and you acquired a bunch of learned knowledge, and you don't want to lose that learned knowledge. Some loss of retention is going to occur, but you want to minimize that loss. So there are several options. One is to simply take a break and then come back with full, the urgency and motivation, or slow the pace of studies, but plan to ramp back up in fall so that you are not taking it too lightly, given the fact that the exam itself, as Kristina mentioned, takes a significant number of hours to master the material that is tested. Now, as I said, we are offering 9 online live master classes, and these are bi-weekly classes starting in the first week of June for all 3 levels. And what they do is we take a topic area. For example, in level 2, the first class is going to be quantitative methods, and we cover a specific reading within that topic area. And then we follow it up with class discussion on a couple of item sets. So at level 1, there will be a series of individual questions and so forth. And that is a process whereby you are kind of re-engaging, revisiting material that you have learned. The objective is it is bi-weekly, so the week prior to the class, you're going to review the material pertaining to that topic area for that class. And the week after, you're going to do practice questions on that topic area, as well as review the following week's, the next class. So here are the 9 master classes, again, bi-weekly. They start in first week of June, and in late September. And in October and November, we are going to have our review courses. Some of them we are currently planning on offering in person in select cities across the world. We'll see how things pan out. As Kristina just mentioned, this is a rather fluid situation, but we will nonetheless offer it online as well. So once again, the master classes is available to every single candidate. the email that you got from the society has a link to that masterclass to register. Alternatively, you can go to swayzer.com and sign up for this masterclasses. So again, we are offering 9 of these. They are going to focus on re-engaging you, retouching the curriculum that you had learned a little while ago, and we are going to include application. So you will see the how the material is being tested, and there will be a Q&A component at the end of every single class. So what do you do between the master classes? You catch up if you're behind, you know, review the areas that you find a little more troublesome. Now that you have luxury of time, you can dig deeper into some of the select topic areas. One of the things that reduces loss of knowledge is what I call as formative assessment. And that is, you know, using questions such as from the Q Bank from Kaplan or your CFA Institute curriculum end of chapter questions. These are valuable questions that Kristina mentioned. We integrated actually in our weekly classes. So these serve as very valuable in bringing back to the forefront whatever you had learned earlier. So spend half your time on these formative assessments and thereby refreshing your learned knowledge. And don't use practice exams. And I'm here referring to practice exams that we sell as Kaplan, but also practice exams that you got the mock exam from the Institute. So that is something that is what I call a summative assessment. That is something you will need later on in your study cycle. So late September, you're going to take your first practice exam, and there is a recursive process to the practice exam. What do you do with the practice exam is you, if you are a Kaplan customer, you are going to enter it in our LMS. They'll give you your standing vis-a-vis your competition, and it'll basically identify topic areas that you need to patch up on. So you'll identify holes in your learning. You go out and fix those holes. And that is the completion of the feedback loop. And then you take the next practice exam. And then you'll identify a new set of holes in your learning. But it is better to know where your gaps are prior to the exam day. And that gives you an opportunity to clean up those rough edges and thereby have a much better exam day experience. For those of you who are again Kaplan customers, the practice exam volume 1, exam 1, we're going to provide for this year for the first time because we have more time, video debrief on those every single question in that practice exam. So we have a revision phase in that timeline. In as I said, we are offering a 3-day and a 5-day exam review workshops, and those are basically a synthesizing process whereby you are reviewing the material one additional time, the entire curriculum, but not only that, you're spending a significant amount of time doing practice strategy as to how to go about approaching the exam. So our objective there is to synthesize what you've learned, identify areas that you need to spend a little extra time on, and also come up with specific strategies, custom-made, tailor-made for you to get a favorable outcome come exam day. So if you achieve more than 70% on your practice exams, you have an excellent chance of passing the actual exam. So that is, again, my presentation, and I look forward to your questions.
For Kristina, but probably for both of you. For those taking level 2 in December, Actually, for Kristina, when would we be expecting results? It seems tough since they may come in February with the level 3 coming in after June.
Yep, so we are still working through the results timeline. We hope to have information soon to share with candidates so you know the exact date. But what we can say is that our goal is to get results out along the same timeline that we normally would. So for the December exam for level 1 candidates, we generally get results out the end of January. So certainly realize that's still maybe later than candidates would like, but we're now doing the results process for 3 levels when we normally just do 1 at that time. So it does present some issues. So I hope that we have a final firm answer for you soon, but right now I can say that we are aiming for kind of end of January, early February timeframe. That will be before the standard registration deadline for June 2021. The standard registration deadline is the 17th of February. The final deadline is the 17th of March. So less study time than some may prefer, but certainly still in line with other candidates looking to take level 2 or level 3 in June 2021.
Along those lines, will there be a similar time frame still with the February exam for results?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Will there still be a similar time frame with the results for the February exam as previous?
Yeah, so the goal for February, that'll be our first CBT cycle. So we are still working through what that will look like, but we can say that results for CBT exams will be roughly the same time frame as other exams. So if you sit for level 1 in February 2021, you will not receive results in time to sit for level 2 in June 2021. So that's important point of consideration when level 1 candidates are thinking about whether they should sit in December or February. If you don't mind waiting another year until the following June to take level 2, then certainly no issue. But February 2021 will have the same, number of weeks afterwards in which we hope to get results out, but that will not be out in time to register for June 2021.
Great, thanks. This one's for BJ. Will the Kaplan Choice or Master class be recorded and available for viewing for those that can't make the live class?
I just responded to the group in the chat box, but I'll say it again. Yes, the master classes will be recorded and the archives will be made available to all the people who register for the class.
Great. And for both of you, will there be an in-person mock exam in November? And along with that, someone else had asked, do we know when the live mock exam and the 3-day workshops will be?
I think the live mock exam is for the society to answer. The 3-day seminar, we have the schedule on our website. And our online mock information is also available on our website. So you can go to swayzer.com and find the information. So we currently have tentative dates for select cities across the world. We are hoping that we will be able to, offer it. We are going to have the 3-day in Chicago, in person, in downtown. Again, everything is contingent upon how things turn out.
And this one is for Kristina. Given COVID-19 is still impacting all of us on a regular basis, should we not pass the exam? Is the CFA Institute allowing students to retake the same level at no charge?
Unfortunately not. So we do understand that COVID-19 is impacting candidates in many different ways, and some people's study is being disrupted greatly. And that's why we've offered 2 options for deferral. So if you don't feel like you can study right now and prepare for the December exam, then if you're level 1, you can take it in February, or level 2 and level 3, you can take it in June. So we feel like those are adequate options. If unfortunately you do not pass whatever exam cycle you choose, then we will not be offering a free registration after that.
And for Kristina, will level 2 candidates be able to sign up for June 2021 exam if they do not pass December 2020?
Yes, they will have enough time to register for the June 2021 exam if you sit in December.
Great. Let me see here. A couple more. BJ, what resources are available for level 2 ahead of time? If testing for level 1 in December 2020, but want you to get a jump start on level 2 before getting the results in late January, early February, but not wanting to register with Schweitzer until confirming the passing of the exam.
Yeah, coincidentally, we do offer what is actually called the Jumpstart package, and that is exactly for candidates in that same boat. So there will be no cost for that Jumpstart package. You get access to our Book 1 and all the resources pertaining to Book 1 for the month of January. And then once your results come out, and you pass, you can basically get access to the entire curriculum.
Great. And BJ, someone said, I noticed the Kaplan Schweitzer Masterclass Level 1 starts June 3rd, which is after the Level 2 in June 2nd. Is that by design?
No, it's just we are staggering different days. So we are not offering all 3 levels on the same day. Just because of the volume of bandwidth that we have to come up with.
Well, unless we've got some more questions coming in, that's all we have at the moment. Does anybody have any other ones that we can? Here we have one more that came in. So we can take advantage of Book 1 for level 2 during January on the portal.
Yes, but you have to sign up for that Jumpstart package. Yes.
Okay, great. Anyone else have any questions to add in? You can chat or Q&A. And everyone asked if the presentations will be from the Zoom be distributed. We can send those after the fact if that's okay with both of you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I guess we are done with questions. So unless either of you have anything else you guys would like to add?
Just one clarifying point when I look at the Q&A. For December, any level sitting in December, they will be able to register for June 2021. It's only level 1s that sit in February that will not be able to. So just want to make sure, I apologize if I misspoke earlier, but just wanted to make sure that that was clear.
Great, thanks for that clarification. Okay, if we have no other questions, thank you, Kristina and BJ, so much for giving us all this information. And if anyone has any other questions for the Society, you can email us at info@cfachicago.org or give us the call at the offices. Thank you, Kristina and BJ.
Thank you. Everybody stay healthy, stay well.